This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by legendary promoter Bob Arum once again out here in Las Vegas. Bob, as always, it's a pleasure, like I say. How are you?
I'm great. I'm looking forward to Saturday night.
Let's get straight into it because I know a queue will form very shortly. Crawford-Porter, a brilliant fight. What are you expecting to see on Saturday night between the pair of them?
Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know how that fight's going to unveil. Porter fights one way. He bulls you. He gives you no room. And he tries to smother you. And he roughs you up. Terence is a wonderful boxer puncher. And the question is, can he resist those bullying tactics to do his fight, do his thing? Because I think he's clearly the more skillful fighter.
I've seen a few people mention they think Terence could stop Shawn on Saturday night. Let's say if that was the case, what statement do you think that would send to the rest of the welterweight division?
Well, again, let me be honest about it. I don't care what statement it sends. Terence Crawford is the best welterweight in the world. Period. End of story. Errol Spence is a hell of a welterweight, but he doesn't compare to Terence. I really believe that. I think in fighting Porter, Terence is fighting the most difficult of the welterweights that PBC has, and God knows they have enough of him. So if he beats Porter, I think that I would make him a big favorite over Spence.
Bob, with Terence, when will talks begin to look to renew his contract?
Look, people have asked me that, but I go back to the 80s and the early 90s. We didn't have long-term contract. We did fight by fight, and I think Terence would be happier with a fight by fight kind of deal. I think Terence feels that a long-term contract might constrain him, which it does to some extent because he's tied up to one promoter. So I'm happy to deal with Terence on a fight-by-fight basis, always taking the chance that if somebody comes along with a really good deal that's much better than what we're offering, he's free to do it. And that creates a different type of sensibility between the fighter and the promoter.
Bob, just a few other topics I want to touch on before I let you go. Obviously, Teofimo returns next week against George Kambosos. What are you expecting to see from him after over a year out of the ring?
Who knows with Teofimo? If, assuming he hasn't lost any of his mojo, he'll walk right through Kambosos. It shouldn't be a difficult fight. But after a year with a guy who had been fighting every 2 months, how has it affected him? I don't know. We'll have to see.
I saw Josh Taylor yesterday, and Josh said he's got no interest in that fight and he thinks Teofimo's just using his name to build his own. For you, what do you think could be more likely, say, Josh Taylor versus Crawford at 147 after Josh faces Jack Catterall if he's successful, or still try and push for a Teofimo-Josh fight?
No, I think Josh, I had dinner with him, as you know, last night, and Josh made it plain that after Catterall, he wants to go up to 147 and fight Crawford. Well, if the stars align and Crawford wins, as I believe he will on Saturday, a Crawford fight against Josh Taylor would be massive, whether it took place here in the United States or in the UK.
I'd certainly love to see that in the UK, Bob. Fury-Whyte, that was not ordered at the WBC convention yesterday. Eddie Hearn was very vocal, expecting it to be so, but Dillian's got his own arbitration case going on against the WBC. So I just wanted to get your take on that entire situation. And was you surprised to not see Fury-Whyte ordered?
Well, no. Why would they order it when they're being sued and the case is in arbitration? they're pretty pissed off, the BC is, with White. And Eddie Hearn really doesn't understand the market in the United States, doesn't understand these organizations. No, well, if Joshua says he wants to go right to the Usyk fight, which he can legally, he has that right. Then Tyson, I talked to him this morning on the phone, will fight White if White is reasonable with the purse. If he's not, we'll fight Joe Joyce. So again, there's all moving parts, but certainly before Christmas, it'll all sort itself out.
Just with Tyson, is he actually allowed to still fight then, regardless of what's going on with Dillian and the WBC, or does he have to wait to see what happens there?
100%. He told me he wants to fight by the end of February. He was off for so long between Wilder fight, and that's what Frank and I are gonna deliver for him. I think Frank has a hold on that indoor arena in Cardiff.
Canelo-Makabu, what do you make of that, Bob, up at cruiserweight, seeing Canelo moving up?
I don't know who this guy is, never seen him fight. All I have to say is Canelo and Eddie Reynoso are good boxing guys, and they know what they're doing.
And then final one, we saw the reports come out that Joe Smith Jr. will now face Callum Johnson on January 15th. Can you just confirm that and just give me your take on how that fight has now come about?
I confirm it. It take place in the Turning Stone Casino in Verona, New York, and it'll be bombs away.
Right, Bob, I appreciate your time and over cues for me, so thank you.